BeTerrific, official coverage of CES 2017.
All right, let's get right to the action. How about that? I've got Jason Aaron with me.
Pleasure to be here.
Thank you. What's up? How you doing, buddy? You having a good time in Vegas?
I'm going to have to see an audiologist when we're done today, but other than that, I think we're good.
I think Samsung might be using Kev speakers. I mean, it is just so loud.
Do you think I can bill back my audiologist trip to Samsung? How would that work?
Yeah, well, you just send them a bill for your hearing aids, and it's all good. They'll cover the cost.
I'm sure.
They probably would, actually. They probably think that the $5,000 per hearing aid that you need and I need now is worth. That's another 10 grand for you and 10 grand for
well, plus
20 grand.
Plus Andrea, Kevin,
right.
Derek.
Oh, yeah. So the 100 grand for that, 70, I guess. The 70 grand for our crew is worth having their booth there and that loud. They're carnival barking. Anyway, we've got a great company on. Jason is from Canon. Canon makes unbelievable imaging products. I mean, the whole line. We had the printers on yesterday. On the professional side, we use their cameras all the time. In fact, we're using a C100 out on the floor live for our live roving reporter. We've got a C500, and our studio has 4 Canon AX20s. That's kind of a prosumer camera. This is Jason from Canon to talk about some of the consumer cameras and products. And really with Canon, it's about seeing the impossible. This is the GX9X, or the G9X rather.
Mark II, yep.
It's a beautiful camera. It's really great, but it's packed with a lot of fun features.
Yeah, what's nice about this camera is the size, right? So first off, it's really the size. People want a high quality camera these days, but that they can take everywhere. So the G9X Mark II builds upon the predecessor, the original G9X, but they added some really nice features to it. I mean, right off, if you look at it, it has a really big LCD screen. It's a touch panel LCD as well. So
your hand looks good in there, Mike.
Yeah, I mean, you can really.
I'll get the Kev speakers instead.
You can really get in and just take this camera out of the box and really figure out how to use it. What's nice is it has Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, NFC. So today, it's all about connectivity. It's about allowing the customers to get on and connect to their smart device. They want to be able to share to social media, post to Facebook, Instagram, post to YouTube, have that capability to do all that. And so this gives them that flexibility.
So when you say post, you could shoot a video on this camera and post it right to YouTube?
Right. You could go ahead and send it right to, your smartphone, and then use your smartphone, post it right up. So
that's incredible.
Yeah, I mean, it's giving you the capability that a lot of times, people don't have that high quality at the touch of their hand.
Is there a limit on how big a file I can send through my phone? So is it like, if I take a clip on my iPhone that's over 2 or 3 minutes, it'll say, oh, you've got to edit this down before you upload it. Can I take a 5-minute clip on here and upload it to Facebook or YouTube?
As long as the Wi-Fi is good enough. So.
What I noticed was really cool is the focus had grabbed the Kev speaker right here, and I thought, you know what, that's nice, but the camera shot's getting the screen, and maybe we could get the Terrifics logo, our audience, as the focal point, and I just touched it, and but the thing that's interesting is it's locked on that. And so even as my hand shakes a little, it hasn't changed to something else in the frame. It's not picking up the movement. It's locked on to what I put my finger on.
Yeah, a lot of people now, they're so used to using a smartphone. They're so used to touching the screen, right? So if you give somebody something that's not touch, they're kind of like, well, how do I use this? But, the autofocus system is so fast on these little cameras. It will lock on, but also if something's moving, you could track that subject too. So it does have that face detection that, let's say a kid is playing in the backyard, you'll be able to take your kid and watch them throughout the whole time.
How many megapixels is this camera?
That camera is 20 megapixels in that
20
little
megapixels.
Yeah, in that little
a lot of megapixels.
In that little one, yeah. It also shoots full 1080p HD video. So it can pretty much do anything you need. A lot of people like these for travel because they're so small, especially for us guys, right? We don't have purses. We don't have a big bag. Sometimes
Speak for yourself, Jason. Speak for yourself.
You got to put it in your pocket, put it in your skinny jeans. You can kind of take it everywhere.
You could put it in your pocket, you say, huh?
There you go. See?
By the way, speaking of your inside pocket, could we give the Terrifics a quick look inside your jacket? Because I happen to.
You can see inside this side.
Yeah, there we go. Look at that. Unleash the dragon.
Well, here, if we're gonna do it, we might as well go.
I mean, I didn't feel like it was right that I was the only one that got a chance to see it.
Wow.
There it is. Unleash the dragon.
We're bringing back the 80s. Your name is Jason. His name is Jason. I'm Michael. It's the 80s all day, right?
Dragon Unleashed.
And if you want to see the cufflinks, there you go.
Make sure you check out those. Make sure you check out those initials on his left sleeve.
Gaming on with NES NES controllers. There you go.
Oh, nice.
There it is.
Taking it back. Let's get a little Zelda.
Where
in
did you
this.
get those?
Those cufflinks?
Yeah.
Oh, those were pretty easy. It's the coat and the shirt that were hard to get. These are bespoke. That's, where did I get that? Lord & Taylor. I saw that last year before E3, and I said, I've got to do it. Here you go.
I think he might
We'll have some fun.
confiscate them. Look out.
Well played.
Well,
Imagine if these worked.
I confiscated something else. Yeah, right? That would be cool. There's a product for CES next year.
Gaming cufflinks.
There you go. I'm bringing back the 80s.
There it is.
So what are we going to talk about now?
Well,
Well, tell
after
me
the
about-
gaming cufflinks, it's tough to follow.
By the way, every good magician has, the diversion.
Right.
So
And I have an assistant. It's beautiful.
exactly. So between the shirt and the cufflinks and the jacket, I mean, it's almost as if we weren't just talking about.
I have an idea. We could talk about the Canon booth. You guys have a great booth, and you're talking about visionaries. It's not just about your gear this year. It's about showcasing the visionaries and giving people who create, who are artists, who are doing something spectacular with Canon equipment, a spotlight.
Yeah, it's really different. I mean, everybody knows that Canon's about the products. You know that we're about cameras, we're about printers, but what else? About the lenses. So the center of the booth is all about the product because that's typically what draws the customer in. But everything else is really interesting to show the different, visionaries that we can work with. There's somebody that's doing 3D printing in our booth, which is really cool. They have 130 Rebel cameras. I mean, it's wild to get inside this booth and you see all these cameras and they take pictures from all angles on all sides of you, and they can create a figurine. They're tying it into fashion where you're able to remove the background and just see something like your nice jacket. You can see the inside, the outside. Basically be able to just remove it, and it's just like this really cool booth setup that they have with lights, and it's easily manned. There's a camera inside it. We've got wireless printing with Alexa. There's just a bunch of different things going on. We're showing some future technology too with a 250 megapixel sensor, which is something that Canon developed just to say, hey, we can do something like this. It's not out on the market, but they're doing some testing with it.
I love that Canon is always looking so far in the future. I mean, even the Canon Expo that's at Javits every several years showcases some of the latest technology you guys are working on. I mean, 4 or 5 years ago, you guys showed off 8K at Canon Expo in New York City. So I know you guys are always thinking way far in advance, but I love that you're showcasing the people who use the products now and saying, hey, these people are doing wonderful things. We should kind of showcase them a little.
Yeah, it's nice because, I think a lot of people forget, like, what do they do with this stuff? It's more than just a consumer walking around, going on vacation, taking pictures during the wedding, stuff like that. There's so many different applications that are being used on a regular basis.
And he makes it reappear. It's amazing.
Well, I'll make it disappear again. Don't worry. This has 3 times optical zoom. I don't know if I mentioned that. And it's got a 1-inch sensor.
Yeah, it's a 1-inch sensor. So
it's huge.
It's a big sensor for a little camera. Typically they're like 1/2, so they're very small, maybe the size of your pinky nail. That's typically what's the size of the sensor in a smartphone. So this is being a 1-inch sensor is the kind of the next step would be an APS-C and then a full frame. So there's only one other camera that has a bigger sensor in the G series with a 1.5-inch sensor. So, people like that. And then people go, well, what can I do with a 1-inch sensor? You get better wide dynamic range. So better ability to capture the shadow areas and the highlight areas. So think about like if you're walking through like a tunnel or a cave and then it's all dark, but then there's a beautiful beach behind it. This camera can handle a shot like that, where most cameras, they really can't.
Better low light performance.
Absolutely. You get those street shots, especially Vegas on the Strip at night on a Saturday, Sunday night, you can get all the action.
You got some ideas for tonight?
We could sync up later if you want to see what this thing can really do.
And listen, what about the new flagship that was released this year in the DSLR line, 5D Mark IV?
The 5D Mark IV, it's amazing. Every time that camera comes out, it seems like it's worlds ahead of what we thought it was going to be. It was 4 years in the making. And it was a good full frame year for us because we announced the 1DX Mark II for the Olympics, and that was phenomenally well received, really well received. And then you had the 5D Mark IV, which is really the staple for wedding and portrait photography. A lot of people use it for landscape too, but wedding and portrait, I mean, everybody I know that's a wedding shooter uses a 5D.
I can attest to that.
Yeah.
I can attest to that.
The guy who shot my wedding used a 5D, you know. And
Not surprising.
That's funny.
you know, it's just a great camera all around. The fact that they added 4K and they added frame grab, which is really nice because you can pull an 8.8 megapixel still right from your 4K footage. So that's a really awesome feature.
To get back to this for
Sure.
a second, I mean, I got really close to that speaker. The detail here, it goes right to macro on autofocus. It's unbelievable, right? Just flip over here, look at the low light performance. This is where the lights aren't offset. And you've got a nice dynamic range because this monitor is very bright, this background is very dark, and so you can see that. And there's you guys. I think Jason's a little tired today maybe. You had a rough night in Vegas? But you can see how sharp the images look and how clear they are. It's really great.
And that's really what we're trying to get people to know. You know, there's all these people, like there's people that have a DSLR that are like, I want something small that I can take everywhere. And then there's the smartphone user that's like, you know what, I take a ton of pictures, but I want to be able to take better pictures.
The G9X has HDMI out. Is that live out? Can you plug that into a video switcher if you wanted? Or
No, it's not live. It's just to kind of read what you already have on there.
Sure.
Yeah.
This has pinch zoom on it.
Yep.
And look how clear it is when you zoom in on that Kef logo. Now,
yeah, I mean, the
Terrifics
can't really see it because
the cameras are far away.
Right, but
yeah, you might be able to see it better on this camera here. You pinch to zoom it. Well, not really.
Too
we
bright.
don't have great dynamic range
Too bright.
on what we're doing. But anyway, so what about mirrorless cameras? There are a lot of great mirrorless cameras that you guys have now. I think there are 3 in the lineup. Is that correct?
Yeah, we actually decided to, you know, really get into mirrorless. We've been in mirrorless, but you know what? We wanted to offer people a full line. So we have an M10, which is our entry level. We have an M3, which is kind of the middle of the road. And then we have our latest, which is our M5. Now, the M5 is the flagship of our mirrorless. It's the fastest mirrorless camera we've ever had. It's 7 frames per second. It has our latest and greatest autofocus in it, which is our dual pixel CMOS technology. And that's the same one you have in the 5D Mark IV. So, you know, people say, oh, I want a camera, I want it to have interchangeable lenses, but I want to be able to take it everywhere, you know? It's not as small as this, but it's not as big as a traditional DSLR.
And it still has EF mounts and the entire line.
So it's an M mount, but you can add an adapter to use any of your EF lenses. So, you know, you have a Canon camera, you want to use your 24 to 105, by all means, you add the mount and you could go ahead and do that.
And you guys make that mount?
We make that mount. We make all the lenses for our camera. We have a range of from 11 millimeters to 200 millimeters on the M series alone. And they're small and compact, you know, so it gives people a lot of flexibility. Even one camera with 2 small lenses is going to weigh less and be less to carry than a traditional DSLR, and some people really like that.
Now, you can see how nice this macro shot is. I got very close to the cufflinks, and you've got the AB button, and I pinched to zoom, but you know, there's the actual photo.
And that's, you know, that's kind of the advantage of having that big sensor. You're able to get a lot more detail that, you know, sometimes you can't get. Back to the mirrorless, you know, you have that viewfinder that we put in it too. So a lot of people were like, well, I wanted to have a flash, I wanted to have viewfinder, I wanted to have Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, NFC. You know, I wanted to do everything. And it can.
You know, one thing we haven't talked, we've been talking about this camera for 10 minutes already. What does it cost?
That camera's $529.
What camera?
It's $529. It's shipping.
Your jacket doesn't seem to be buttoning that loosely.
You know what? It hides away pretty well. So.
I don't know what you're talking about. It's gone.
Do you have a pacemaker?
Huh? So it's $529.
Yep.
And it's available now.
February.
Okay. And I like this camera a lot, but I also like the mirrorless because you can have a camera with interchangeable lenses, but it doesn't have to be as big as a DSLR.
Right, and it, you know, it gives you the same functionality. So, you know, we're Canon, we're really like, let the customer pick what they want. We have a lot of different price points. We have a lot of different feature sets, you know, and you can pretty much do whatever you want with it. If you want to be in stills, landscape, portrait, video, blogging, vlogging, whatever you want. You know, we try to give everybody what they need.
And I like that on all the cameras you can put it on all auto, or which is tremendous, or you can use manual settings, which I think I usually like. Thank you so much, Jason, for coming on, talking about the G9X and everything else that Canon is working on and has. Canon, see the impossible.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thanks. I got to tell you something. You know, Wi-Fi is really important, connecting to the cameras, connecting to all your peripherals, and Portal is the best Wi-Fi router out there. It is so simple to set up. It has got the least amount of congestion. Congestion. It figures out where the congestion is and moves you around it. It's like Waze for routers, and it's easy to set up. It's $179, available on Amazon now, has 250 reviews and a 4-star rating. You got to check out Portal. The fastest router, the easiest to set up, and the least congestion of and interference of any router. It's unbelievable. They've won all sorts of awards here. You got to check it out. Go to Amazon and search Portal to get yours today. We'll be back with a whole lot more of your live continuing coverage of CES 2017 right after this. Stay with us.
BeTerrific, official coverage of CES 2017.